PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now have now officially combined into one relaunch package. The new PlayStation Plus offers 3 tiers for your entertainment: Essential, Extra, and Premium. Now, other regions without streaming services offered will vary with 4 tiers, but on top of your typical monthly PS Plus games and discounts, there are other benefits like game trials, free DLC packs, and a whole collection of games to play and stream. For the 2 games talked about in this video, you'll need a PlayStation Plus Extra or a PlayStation Plus Premium membership, which is the 2nd and 3rd tier you can purchase. And with either of these memberships, you have access to a whole collection of PS1, PSP, PS2, Stream PS3 games, PS4, and now PS5 games to play on your account. And this is perfect because it now puts a spotlight on previously released titles probably most have avoided. But there are 2 underrated titles, 2 first-party PlayStation 5 exclusive titles I believe you should be playing, that being Returnal and Destruction AllStars. When Returnal was announced at the PlayStation 5 The Future of Gaming show in the summer of 2020, I was immediately hooked. I'm a huge sucker for an intriguing story, and Returnal is just that. It's a psychological action thriller that's reminiscent of Housemarque's previous work such as Super Stardust, but with a stronger emphasis on storytelling. So it was no surprise Returnal was overshadowed by the announcement of games like Horizon Forbidden West, Spider-Man Miles Morales, and Gran Turismo 7, all of which are established franchises. But when Returnal was released in early 2021, it certainly made people talk. In Returnal, space pilot Celine crash lands on the alien planet of Atropos. She soon finds a deadly double of herself, and if that wasn't enough, one of her first encounters against an alien creature kills her, only for Celine to wake up once again at the crash site. She's stuck in a time loop, one that will have her fighting her way through various biomes, fighting unique hostile alien lifeforms, and unlocking the secrets of Atropos and her own past along the way. Technically speaking, the game is a third-person roguelike shooter. It was also my first time playing any kind of roguelike game, and while not entirely my favorite type of game, Returnal's characterization, atmosphere, and mystery were enough to keep me coming for more, and I was desperate to see how Celine's story turned out. Of course, I recommend playing the game in spurts if you aren't entirely into the roguelike element like I am. I could spend over an hour on one run, have something stupid happen, and then not be in the mood to start over until later. Of course, there are various factors that depend on how far you get into your run. Every run through you do will vary since the world is ever changing. It may be familiar on certain runs, but then vastly different on others. This also changes the types of weapons and perks found. Sometimes you'll be extremely lucky, and other times will be lackluster. Your weapons also start out weak, but the more you kill, the stronger you get, and oftentimes you'll have to choose whether to wait out on better weapons, or choose out on a completely different one you find. And this will alter your playstyle, so it's best to get a feel for the various weapons and figure out your favorites. Ultimately, your choices can help or hinder your playthrough. And once you unlock enough biomes, you have to decide if you will go through each biome again, or use portals to quickly go to the next biome, but sacrifice what potential gear you could find, and essentially grow stronger for what's ahead. Everything is player choice. Eventually, Celine does unlock permanent abilities such as a melee weapon to attack enemies or destroy objects, but this really shouldn't be relied on. She also unlocks a grapple that can be used to return to unobtainable spots early in the game to find new items, and is very useful to get her out of sticky situations. But what's really cool is how the game freshens itself up with a variety of biomes from dark, rainy terrain to desert and snow. Each biome presents new enemy types that have a range of projectiles, almost arcade-like in a way, that all end in a big boss fight. There's enough variety that it doesn't feel the same all the way through. But the real reason why you should play Returnal now are the updates the game has had since its launch. One of the first major critiques the game had was a lack of a save feature. For a while, Housemarque refused to include this since ultimately the game isn't meant to have one, but it's understandable why people wanted one. Without one, people had to leave their PS5s in rest mode. While this method did work, the game or the PlayStation 5 could have an update being that your current run is no more. Later, the developers would include a suspend feature so players could return the spot the next time they started the game, which ultimately was a fair compromise. And the biggest and most surprising update for Returnal came out around its first anniversary, a free update to all players called Ascension, which added 2 new game modes, the first being co-op. Now, co-op is online only and is only playable for the main story. Essentially, Celine calls for another version of her, one that's actually alive this time. You will find these giant orbs at the start of each biome to initiate co-op, and can either invite a player in, or join or host a game. This will actually help some players who have been having a difficult time, and is a great way to get someone else into the game. I absolutely love co-op, and I can't wait to play this with my partner in the future so we can both experience the story together. The other big part of this update was the Tower of Sisyphus. Like the main game, you'll be repeating through cycles and seeing just how far you can go floor by floor, and eventually the environments will also change and end in brand new boss fights. Plus your weapons are more powerful, and if you get the hang of the mechanics, it's actually almost easier than the main game. And instead of going through Celine's house in first person, you'll be going through a hospital which is also connected to her past. And just like the main game, I absolutely love these sections, and plan to unlock more to progress further and learn more about Celine as a person in general. So yes, Returnal won't be a game for everyone. The roguelike mechanics will turn some people away since you will be playing the game over and over again, but the environments, the mysterious story, let alone how voice actress Jane Perry delivers her lines as Celine will really pull you into the game. And on top of that, added new story content with the Tower of Sisyphus and being able to play the main story in co-op, it really enhances an already great game. Definitely be sure to check this one out. Much like Returnal, Destruction AllStars already didn't have an eager anticipation on its announcement. Most people were already judgmental that it wasn't Twisted Metal or even a PlayStation AllStars Battle Royale sequel, but it had this unique art style of detailed realism with cartoonish features that weren't typical of other games such as Fortnite. Now, picking Destruction AllStars as a must-play underrated title is probably controversial because I know a lot of people were turned off by it when it launched thanks to its price point, not being free to play and a dwindling player base, and the general fact that it wasn't of course Twisted Metal. But Destruction AllStars isn't Twisted Metal, nor is it trying to be. Similar in concept, but it's different enough to not be Twisted Metal, and honestly, there's room for both. And since its original launch, the game has had a major update in January 2022 that completely redesigned all game menus and actually made things like optional skins, emotes, etc. cheaper to purchase with earned or purchased credits. Plus added new visuals, new sound effects, double jumping for characters. It's a whole new way of playing that didn't get the promotion it needed when the update launched. Now back in January, I did a video on why you should be playing Destruction AllStars because I really like the game and I typically hate playing online games, so when something like that connects to me, I have to talk about it. Now, I think the game should have a bit more offline content like the newer modes that have been introduced for online and split screen, but thanks to the relaunch of PlayStation Plus, it finally gives the game its own chance to relaunch and bring in a new audience, as well as add in more modes and features in the future. Since the big January update, developer Lucid Games have pretty much been silent on what were supposed to be future talked about updates, leading me and many others to think that they unfortunately decided to end their work in the game, but I'm happy to announce that this silence was just them working on big new updates to the game. 3 new events taking place over 6 weeks each will kick off with Rise on June 22nd, Unite on August 10th, and Survive on September 28th. Each event will include new challenges, a new All-Star Pass, which is the first since the original ended in January, and this one goes up to tier 50 rather than 150, and it comes with a variety of cosmetic content and currency rewards, and finally, new single-player story content based on specific characters, with hopefully more in the future. And on top of that, a brand new game mode will be introduced during the Rise event called Jump Shot, which is a team-based mode where 4 teams of 3 need to work together, where one of the members will be running on foot to maximize their gear number, and have to jump through a hoop to bank them, while other members will be trying to extend their time limit. Jump Shot joins the free-for-all Mayhem mode and the weekend team-based mode Blitz. And on top of that, as a huge bonus, those who have played or have continuously been supporting the game since the original launch, before it joined the game catalog in the new PlayStation Plus, will be getting some love with the Founders Pack as a thank you for playing and supporting the game. It's available to claim for free in the in-game store and includes some exclusives like skins, a banner, avatar, and a new additional glow for your character. With a blend of on-foot action and car collision, Destruction AllStars is a fun, fast-paced game with a cast of colorful characters that's fun to play from the onslaught of open-world, first-person, and heavily cinematic games that we're accustomed to these days. It feels almost old-school with modern touches that anyone can pick up and play. From its big January update to these 3 new events and more to come, Destruction AllStars isn't dead yet, and Lucid Games is very smart to take advantage of this second chance, and I hope you're willing to take a second or even a first chance on this fun game. These are only 2 of the many new games you must play on the newly relaunched PlayStation Plus. The new service allows underrated games like Returnal and Destruction AllStars to be tried and played without having to purchase them, or a try before you buy type of scenario. Thanks to PlayStation Plus, these games will get a second chance to make a new impression on players, so let me know if you plan on checking out Returnal and Destruction AllStars in the comments below, or if you have, let me know your thoughts on them. And if you're up to watching some more content, check out my video on why you should be playing Destruction AllStars. Please like and subscribe for future content. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video.